Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 4 of What If Deku Was Adopted by Mirko. If you notice some errors or some missing parts in the video, please tell me in the comment down below. Hope you'll enjoy the video. Izuku POV, you ready to do this, Izuku? Define ready? Me and mom got off the train to head into the area I used to live in. Since the incident yesterday with the USJ attack, mom's been kinda uneasy with me after seeing how messed up I was. So, where'd the Bakugos live again? If I remember correctly, they live down a street or two to the right when we get to this park. We should be able to see the house on the left when we turn. Hard to believe their faces while realizing you're alive and happy. I started to mess with my hair a bit to hide my scar while agreeing. Flashback to the evening prior. Once I was released from Recovery Girl's office, Kachin ran up to me and grabbed my shoulders in a panic. "Dude, I think my folks found out you might not be dead." "Wait, you didn't tell them I wasn't?" "No way. I wanted it to be a surprise when you whoop ass in the sports festival." Mom looked at Kachin a little skeptical while asking. "So how do you know they think this?" "They saw that video of Izuku singing and wanted to know who he was." I said I was having a friend over who knew the guy, not saying it was him, so now they're expecting him to come over. I started to panic while trying to back out of this. I think I have a date tomorrow with Mina. Yeah, I made a deal with her to head to her favorite shop tomorrow, and I'm certain Kino and Yui would want to know I'm safe, so I'm going to. You ain't chickening out of this, you little pain in the ass. Mom grabbed my shirt while I went white as a ghost. "You've been holding off going to see the Bakugos for years, now you'll see them. But butts are for kicking. You're going to go there tomorrow, and I'm coming with you, so I know you're not gonna be a chicken and sneak away from it." I felt a lump in my throat, scared beyond belief of what would happen. Back to present. So, what are the Bakugos like? Well, Aunt Mitsuki is rather nice and caring. She always treated me kindly and made sure to keep Kachin in line the best she could. But she can be kinda strong with her choice of vocabulary and how she reacts to things she's passionate about. Define strong? You'll understand when you see it. Uncle Masaru, on the other hand, he's very calm and happy with how his life is. He's a gentle person who tries to be a voice of reason when he can. He admires heroes and wishes to become one when he was younger. But he couldn't, so he had to change his career. He doesn't regret it, though, since he met Aunt Mitsuki from it and has the comforting family life he has now. He seems like a quiet dude. He is a little on the quiet side, but I didn't mind it since he is the calmest in the family. As we neared the house, I felt very nervous and began to overthink why I was there. What if they don't like me anymore? What if they agreed with my parents' choice of actions later in life? What if they take one look at me right now and are ashamed of what happened? What if you're internally panicking, aren't you, a little? Look, your friend said that they looked for you and was willing to sock your birth parents for what they did. To me, they gave more of a damn about you than your asset of parents before me. That proves they're good people. I smiled at this while Mom wrapped an arm around me. "Let's go show these people that you're fine and a handsome young man." "Right." We got to the door for it to open to Kachin. "Oh yeah, I'd like to see you try, ya old hag." He was cut off in an argument by a pan being thrown at his face. "You wanna try that again, you brat?" Kachin came out of his argument to see me and Mom, who was kinda confused on what was going on. "Seems you both made it. What are you doing just standing at the door, Katsuki?" "I'm talking to a friend, you old hag. Get some tea or some shit." He brought some snacks. "Don't you speak to me like that, you fucking pain in the ass." "Try me." Now I see what you meant by strong vocabulary and her reactions. I nod while Kachin let us in. "Thank you for allowing us in." We bowed to Kachin while entering the house. "Old man, hag, I got someone for you two to meet." "Why are you calling me a hag, you damned brat?" Mitsuki, maybe shouting isn't the best first impression for Katsuki's friend. "He knows of our family life, old man, don't worry about that. Seems you three are a lively family." Mom states this while Aunt Mitsuki and Uncle Masaru walk into the room. Aunt Mitsuki immediately smacks Kachin for his choice of words when addressing her to see Mom first. "So, it's the pro hero Mirko. Didn't know you had a friend like that, Katsuki." "No, I'm friends with her son." "The rabbit hero has a son." Uncle Masaru stops mid-sentence while seeing me. "Izuku? Hi. It's been quite a while. It's nice to see the two of you again." Both looked at me and went pale as a ghost. Aunt Mitsuki was the first to say something for 5 solid minutes of silence. You're alive?" Yeah, I owe that to my mom. She found me on the street when I was 6. I started to cover my scar with my hair, while Aunt Mitsuki and Uncle Masaru run over to hug me. Izuku, we're so sorry we couldn't find you sooner. Sniffle, we even gave up hope you even survived on the streets. We looked for you the best we could. Hick, can you ever forgive us? I patted their backs, while crying a bit myself. It's not your fault. You both did nothing wrong. After a few minutes of crying, the Bakugos offered us to sit on the couch while offering us some tea. When did you and Katsuki meet again? We're actually in the same class in UA. Oh, I see. Aunt Mitsuki smiles before hitting Kachan over the head. What was that for, old hag? That's for keeping this from US. You knew just as much as US how much we all wanted to see Izuku again, yet you blatantly hid it from US. Why? Please don't blame Kachan, he wanted to surprise you. I kinda like your spirit, lady. Reminds me of me when I was younger. Mom smiled while drinking some tea. Why, thank you. Also, thank you for finding these jalapeno mochi. I've always liked them. That we have Izuku to thank. Aunt Mitsuki smiled at this while answering. Thank you, Izuku. Well, I kinda wanted to make sure I brought something you liked. I also found the classic red bean paste ones for Uncle Masaru. And I greatly appreciate it as well. As we continued to talk about things, Uncle Masaru asked a question that's kinda been bothering him for some time. Izuku, I don't want this to come off mean, but what is your quirk? That's rude. I'm sorry if it did sound a little rude. It's not. I'm sure you both are somewhat curious. I cleared my throat while explaining. My quirk is called Pack Leader. It allows me to use the quirks of people who are my friends. In short, it's kinda like how wolves hunt. They may seem to hunt alone to what everyone believes, but they rarely ever do. Mine somewhat falls into that line of thinking. That's amazing. A quirk like that would perhaps even surpass All Might. It's not my quirk that's amazing, it's the quirks of those that are my friends that are. But there are 3 tangents to this working. Both listen carefully as I explain them. The first is the friend part. This is one of the most important aspects of the quirk in general. If I think of someone as a friend, and that person thinks of me as a friend, the quirk works. However, it will not work if me or the other person do not think of one of us as a friend. They can be more than a friend, but it won't make the quirk work more than it already does. The second is my body's and the other person's ability to use the quirk. Human beings all have different bodies, and they all react slightly different. So, let's take Kachan's quirk as an example. If he can shoot off 50 large explosions before feeling a rebound, and I can only do 30 until the rebound kicks in, that's what I can do. However, if Kachan could only do 50 and I could do more than, I still can only do 50. I can only do the same, or less than the person who has the actual quirk, never more. Seems kinda straightforward. What's the third? The third is this quirk does absolutely nothing to my body to alter it, unless it's an aspect of the quirk. So, as I mentioned before, Kachan's quirk allows him to have his hands sweat nitroglycerin to make explosions. My sweat glands will be changed to produce that type of sweat, but that's it. His natural immunity to the impact and vibrations the explosions produce was a latent aspect from constantly making them. I don't gain that talent. I could have given a time span of constantly doing what he can, but not off the bat. So your quirk allows you to use a friends, family members, or lovers to the best of their ability, or yours if you can't. It's still an amazing quirk. Uncle Masaru says this as Aunt Mitsuki notices a small case I had. So, what's in there? Oh, well, don't laugh, okay? I kinda learned how to play guitar and some other instruments since it helps with anxiety for me. Ooh, can you play something for us? Aunt Mitsuki seems to kinda jump at the question, hoping for me to say yes. Well, I guess I can. She starts to shriek while I take out the guitar to start tuning it. Let's go with this one. While playing, Aunt Mitsuki and Uncle Masaru seemed to enjoy it greatly to a point of starting to clap with the rhythm. They were kinda surprised while I started singing with Kachan pulling out his phone to record me. Once I was done, both Kachan's parents looked like their minds were blown, with Mom smacking my back in satisfaction. Nice job, Izuku, you blew their minds into bits. Uncle Masaru was the first to open his mouth at this. Wow. I'm pretty impressed. Fuck impressed, that was amazing. I blushed at this while hiding my scar behind my hair a bit. Thanks. But it's really not that amazing. Oh really? Kachan showed me a Hero Tube account with each one of the songs on them. I just put on this video a minute ago with it already over 1,000 likes. I looked at the phone while seeing some of the comments. When did you guys? I asked the idiot to send them to me so I can send them to your girlfriends. You can thank the size chick and little mushroom girl for this. Why didn't you just give him Kino or Yui's number to save a trip? Like I'm giving the idiot your girlfriend's numbers. I mean seriously, would you? I think about it a second before answering. You have a point there. Nothing against Kaminari, but he seems to kinda flirt with anything in a skirt. Both me and Kachin laughed, while Mom started to get up. Well, it's been fun, but I got a shift tonight for patrolling, and I need to get going. I should probably get going too. I spooked a lot of people the other day and I need to repay them. Aunt Mitsuki got up to walk us out while giving me one final hug. If you need anything, tell us. We're here for you, Izuku. I know we weren't before, but we want to help if we can. Even if it's just by the sidelines. I smiled at this, while seeing Uncle Masaru behind her giving a nod saying he wanted to help too. In that moment, I started to glow a bit of a yellow and tan color before feeling my face sweat off some strange smelling stuff. I guess I might have gotten your quirk, Aunt Mitsuki. My hand immediately started to explode while rubbing the contents on my sweat in my hand. I guess it wasn't just Mitsuki's, but also mine. I held my hands out while rubbing them to produce some smoke. That is cool. Well, we gotta go. I apologize if we had intervened at all. Not at all, Ms. Mirko, this was a nice visit. You can go ahead and just call me Rumi, Mrs. Bakugo. Please, call me Mitsuki, and thank you, Rumi. We started heading out with pulling my notebook out of my bag to write down Aunt Mitsuki's and Uncle Masaru's quirks and what I can do with them at the moment. I'll start a detailed analysis on what I can do if I stack them on others later. They seem like nice people. Kinda much on the yelling and cursing, but still good people. They haven't changed a bit. When I used to go over, I'd constantly hear them shouting at each other. It sounds bad on the outside, but it's more like their way of pleasant interacting. We kept walking while I texted the girls if they wanted to come over for a movie and some dinner. They immediately said yes with Mom patting my head. You've got a good friend, Izuku. Bakugo's rough around the edges, but he's got your back. That's something most people don't have. Thanks. He really is a good friend. Izuku POV, a few days had passed with everyone starting to return to normal classes. After obtaining Aunt Mitsuki's and Uncle Masaru's quirks, I started to think of something that got my attention about one of the quirk's natural functions. Thanks to this, I found a way to make something that I wanted to pass on to some of my classmates. Kirishima. Todoroki. I've got something for the two of you. They both walked over to me as I pulled out two small travel bottles of clear liquid. What is this stuff? To make it simple, I was able to mix two different quirks together and create a special compound I tried on myself that moisturizes skin. I thought since you both have scars like me, the skin around it could get kinda agitated and irritable when it's a dry day. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Kirishima smiles at me while Todoroki walks away with a small thank you coming from him. Did you use my quirk in that equation? Sue asked with me trying to make a comment. The only thing that I did, however, was nod for her to get a little grossed out. Wait, where did the second come from? Aunt Mitsuki's quirk, Kachin. He seemed to get it with Sue still not exactly fond of the idea of a side part of her quirk being used. Achako seemed to get it as well with having a bit of a grossed out look as well. Didn't say it was a pleasant thing when you find out how I made it. I sat down waiting for Mr. Izawa or his sub to walk in with everyone questioning who's going to teach us. We quieted down the second the door opened to our teacher, wrapped in bandages looking in our direction. At least I think he was. Are you sure you should be walking around, sir? I'm glad to see you're up and about, but this might be a little too soon. Sue states this uneasily with all of us kinda agreeing with her. My health is irrelevant. Anyway, you all have more to worry about. Everyone held their breath thinking this was going to be another fight like the USJ. The UA Sports Festival is coming up. As if on cue, everyone's fear turned to excitement. As UA students, this will be one of 3 opportunities with one being each year. These are some of the key points where you can make yourself known to the world, so don't waste them. We all began thinking of this with the thought of being scouted echoing in Achako's mind probably the most out of everyone. In the time I've known her, I found out that a reason to become a hero is to help her parents financially. She didn't think it was admirable, but I understand that the desire to help those who helped you grow up. This could be your big opportunity. A chance to show the world you're coming on the scene and gain money for your family. However, there will be an increase of security because of the attack by the villains. Only authorized personnel will be allowed into the event with more background checks being done. This is to show the world that we've got the situation under control. He neared the end of his speech to give one final bit of information to us. Also, all heroics classes are postponed until the end of the festival. Use the next 2 weeks wisely. Mr. Izawa left after this with classes beginning like normal. A chance for us to shine. No doubt I need to do something with this opportunity. Time skip to lunch. We began getting ready for lunch with Kirishima opening the door to the classroom with a bunch of people blocking the way for us. What's going on here? Isn't it obvious shitty hair? They're scouting their competition. Out of the way extras. Can't you be a little nicer to them, Kachan? They're nothing but wimps that'll be fodder when we wipe the floor with them in the sports festival. I didn't know the members of the hero course were this arrogant. A guy with purple hair came over to give us all a plain look. I'm sorry for my friend's rudeness, mister. The man scoffed at me while looking at the class as a whole. That was a little mean. I know we weren't exactly giving the best first impression thanks to Kachan, but that doesn't mean you should be impolite to all of us. Let's make one thing clear, you're not the only ones that wanted to go into the hero course. Many of the people from the other courses wanted to be where you are and could still obtain that role. Wait, what do you mean? I asked the man completely confused while he answered, if someone from another course shows enough merit in the sports festival, then they can be put into the hero course. But for that to happen, if the course is full, someone needs to be taken out. This thought worried me with the fact one of us could be kicked out if more than one person from the other courses want to join and do well. We could get away with one person and not have an issue since there's 39 in the course, but they'll fill that gap quickly. Yo, Class A. I glanced over to see Tetsu climb over a bunch of students. Tetsu? As of today, Class B declares war on you all. Nothing personal, but that's just how this is gonna go. I started to now worry even more knowing everyone is working to do their best. Subconsciously, I started to pull my hair over my scar, scared of what's going to happen. This is getting unsettling. Apparently, this didn't go unnoticed by Kachan who started to blow up from it. Alright, which one of you shit rags messed with him? Fess up now, or I'll fucking murder every last one of you. Everyone started holding Kachan back with the crowd starting to disperse. Just remember, we're not going to hold back our punches, Class A. The purple-haired guy left with this said. Everyone's going for the top. What's worse is that we can be pulled from the hero course if we don't stand out enough. This is very unsettling. We started heading to lunch with grabbing our food and sitting down. A lot of worry was in me knowing of the declaration of war from every course and class to us with some of the girls noticing. Izuku, are you okay? Huh? I glanced up to see Yui and Kino look at me concerned. Yeah, you look really nervous, Shroom. Well, it's just about the whole declaration thing from everyone. It's got me a little on edge. Don't worry about such things, Mr. Cottontail. We all immediately stopped what we were doing to glance over to Shiozaki. I have faith in you that everything shall be okay. Believe in that faith and you shall be unmatched. This shocked all of us with the girl being rather straightforward instead of her refined self. You okay there, Shiozaki? Itsuka asked this with her face immediately going red. I mean I do not believe you should be worried. That is all I mean. I smiled at this before speaking. Thank you, Shiozaki. I appreciate it greatly. She immediately went red before bowing. It is the least I can do for a friend. I could see the red on her face when what she said finally registered with me. She thinks I'm a friend? My body immediately began glowing green before vines started to show up at the edge of the hair on the back of my neck. Hey Izuku, you've got some kind of green vines thing coming out of the back of your neck ribbit. I pulled whatever it was over to realize it was a vine. So, this is your quirk, Shiozaki. Amazing. On instinct, I immediately pulled my notebook out to write down what it was and a detailed image of Shiozaki as well. So your quirk allows you to make vines grow out of your head. Can you also control them and detach them? If they get cut off, can you regrow them as well? Is there any alterations with them, like how you can negate certain things as well? She looked at me confused as I realized what I was doing. Sorry. I got a little carried away. It's quite alright. I can control them and detach them, but I can't control them while the vines are detached at the moment. They can also grow back if I am given enough sunlight and water as any normal plant. My vines are also able to be used as an insulator for electricity. I started writing this down along with a few possible combinations I could use with it. As I did this, we also went over possible training we could do for the next 2 weeks for the sports festival. 2 weeks later. The day had finally come with all of us prepared for what would happen the best we could. Since the events weren't told to us until the day of, we had to prepare for whatever. Yu Sagayama. Can I speak to you for a moment? Todoroki came over with it, confusing me a bit. You're by far the strongest here. I'll beat you today. Count this as my declaration of war to you. These were his only words as he walked away. What was that about? I'm with the Chaco on this one. Did you piss him off or something? Kyoka stated this with it, confusing me even more. As far as I can tell, I didn't. We're going on now. Let's put a little hustle in it, people. Iida motioned us to start moving, with Todoroki's words still confusing me. I didn't do anything to anger him, right? Alright folks, time for the annual UA Sports Festival. First off, we have the group that survived a villain attack. Let's hear it for the hero courses on Class 1A. The crowd roared, making me more anxious than I already was. The other classes were called as well, with all of us standing in the center of a massive arena. Even though they pulled a lot of people from being able to be here today, there's still a lot of people. I started to hide a little with my hair covering my eye. And now for the first-year referee. Everyone please welcome the R-rated hero, Midnight. We glanced over with the image of what the rather obscene-looking hero looked like being engraved into my skull to force my eyes to look somewhere else. Don't look at the sin. Don't look at the sin. Don't look at the sin. And now, we will have the first-year representative speak the player's oath for us. Will Izuku Yu Sagayama please come up on stage? I heard my name with everyone glaring at me. Why am I targeted in this? I started to mentally cry before remembering that mom is somewhere in the city stopping villains. That's right. I need to be strong so I can prove to her I can stand on my own 2 feet. I smacked my cheeks before walking up to the podium, feeling like I was going to throw up from my uneasiness any second. I tried to speak but felt my tongue tied in knots. It's alright dear, just relax and say what comes to mind. Midnight tries to reassure me as I started to take a deep breath in before speaking. Ahem, thank you all for coming here today. It is both an honor and a privilege to be on this stadium today. As a member of this school, I wish for all of you to have the greatest time here as we participate today, with hopes of proving something to both you all and us. So as a fellow participant, I wish my fellow student body good luck at each and every event. I bowed at the audience before bowing at everyone behind me. The fact I was willing to bow to them kinda surprised the other courses, with only the Monoma guy laughing before a giant hand karate chopping him quiet. I guess I made a good impression. Third-person POV, Izuku walked down from the podium with Midnight walking in front of the mic. Now that that's over, let's begin the first event. A giant roulette spun with a bit of enthusiasm in the R-rated hero's voice. And the first event shall be obstacle course. The reel fell on the event, with the students being told what's going to happen. Players shall race around the outside of the stadium while avoiding obstacles we have put out in place for them and return here as quickly as they can. They are able to use their quirks so long as they remain on the path. The first 42 back here first will move on to the next round. The students got in front of the entrance, with Izuku thinking of what he should start with. The group in front is definitely going to be a problem. If I don't do something about getting ahead of them, I'll be behind before I could even get out of the stadium. Izuku then realized the 2 walls between to get a gist on what to do. He began growing his ears to show he activated Rabbit along with a bit of Ofa getting ready. Begin. Everyone had darted off, with Izuku jumping to the wall. Thanks to this, he was able to unknowingly avoid the first obstacle of getting out of the stadium. Guess I forgot how we came in. When he was out of the walkway, he realized the floor was frozen thanks to Todoroki, who was in front with a bunch of robots in front of him that were frozen moments prior. Cake. Izuku made small metal rods no bigger than a small piece of pipe before throwing into a bunch of 0-pointers that were still able to move. Yu Sagayama, what did you do? Just wait, Todoroki. Izuku began using size next for the small rods to grow into large poles that trip the parts of the robots off. Unbelievable, folks. USA Gayama and Todoroki has just taken out several 0-pointers with ease. What did you do? I used Yaoi Rozu's creation quirk to make things of metal that I can fit in my fingers, and then made them bigger with Yui's size quirk. Thanks to just using them one at a time, I was able to avoid doubling the output. But I had to deactivate 2 others I was using before this. Izuku points at his head, making it known that Rabbit wasn't active at the moment. Izuku began running again, activating Rabbit once more with only using brute strength to break the 1, 2, and 3 pointers that got in his way. When he approached the second event, Izuku began to hop from one bit of land at a time hoping not to fall. This unfortunately made him lose first to Bakugos and Todoroki, who were now in front of him. Unbelievable, ladies and gents. USA Gayama has just lost first to Todoroki and Bakugos as they near the final event. Izuku saw that the last event was a minefield with Todoroki and Bakugos fighting up front for first. If I use Kachan's quirk to propel myself to them, they'll only attack me. I need an idea. The boy thought of what he had in his arsenal to gain a smirk, knowing how to deal with this. Thinking of what he already knew, Izuku held his hands behind him using Bakugos' explosion to move near the two. When he was directly above them, the greenette deactivated the quirk before activating Shiozaki's quirk vines. Hope this works. Izuku detached a few pieces of vine to hit specific areas on the ground near the two for explosions to happen, sending the two back. Now back to explosion. Izuku held his hands back behind him again to force an explosion to propel him out of the minefield and make a run for it. He was able to make it back to the main starting line with ease for the crowd to cheer. And we have our first place winner here, folks. Class 1A's Izuku USA Gayama has claimed first above all in the first event. Izuku looked at the crowd smiling before raising his right arm in the air. I'm going to win and prove to everyone I'm able to become a hero. Meanwhile, in an apartment, two people who were relaxing on a day off from work, rather irritated they can't get out of a crappy apartment complex, turned on their TV to see the sports festival with an all too familiar boy to them standing as the winner of the first year's first event. Is that? Can't be Inko. Who'd be friends with him to make him have their quirks? The two continued to watch, unsure themselves, with a thought in the back of their heads that this boy may be the son they threw out about 10 years ago. Mirko POV, erg, so boring. I was walking down the street on patrol with it being practically empty. No villains, no robbers, not even a freaking person running a red light. I would have been bored to tears if this wasn't my last round for the next few hours. And the first to cross the field is Izuku USA Gayama. I crossed a TV store that happened to have the sports festival on. The screen showed Izuku standing as first with his fist raised in the air. Hell yeah. That's my boy. Seems you're in a good mood. I glanced over to see the annoying blonde ass come down from the sky. Sigh, what do you want, you stupid bird? I just was passing by to hear that a certain rabbit's son got first in the first round of the UA Sports Festival. I also came to see if you wanted a date, oof. I kick him in the gut while not looking away from the TV. Can't a mother be happy of their son's success? He's worked hard. I gotta admit, he is pretty impressive. A quirk like his isn't exactly easy to use. He began smirking at me with my foot being up ready for another kick. You going anywhere with this? I was just wondering if I should put a request for him after all this. Over my dead body. Last time you spoke to him, you tried getting him to make me go out on a date with you while making an 8-year-old say your cheesy pickup lines to me. He held his balls, remembering the iron kick of motherly protection I gave him. Anyway, I'll see you around. I gotta finish this and hopefully see Izuku preform in the third round. If he gets in the third round, I have faith he'll get in the third round. Izuku POV, after the last person came past the finish line, we started the next event almost instantly. And now, time for the second event. The reel spun again with it stopping on our next event. And the next shall be Cavalry Battle. Players will be put in teams of 2 to 4 with having a headband of point value due to their position in the last event. The headbands will be a combined number of all the horses' points. And here are the points. The screen showed the point value of every place, with last being worth 5 and the place after being worth 10. Every place after that was an addition of 5 from the last until it reached second and stopped. Wait, then how much am I worth? They put everyone else's on, but why not mine? As for first place, they will be worth 10 million points. The second I heard that, everyone looked at me with determination to claim my headband. Oh snap. I started shaking with covering my eye from the nervousness. You have 5 minutes to make a team, so get going. In fear, I frantically went to find someone to pair with for most to avoid me. Since it was almost definite I'd be targeted, many didn't want to join me. Izuku. I glanced back to see Kino, Yui, and Achako smile. Let's team up, Shroom. I began uncontrollably crying, thinking this was a cruel joke. Are you three sure they'll be after us cause of my 10 million stupid points? We've been through worse. Besides, we'd rather join with you. The three smiled with the act touching my heart. I can't believe I have such kind people like them in my life. Okay, if that's the case, I think I have a plan. They all listened to me as I explained it. It didn't sound like a bad idea, so they were in it completely. Since Kino was rather small compared to all of us, putting her anywhere but the top would hinder us as a whole. Since I've got combat quirks and can avoid being damaged by her mushroom spores, I decided to go in front with Achako and Yui being the side parts of the horse to play different parts. 5 minutes were up for us with everyone making groups. Everyone ready? Ready. Let's show them what we've got. Woohoo. I'm the queen of the world shroom. Sometimes I think she just likes being small cause she can sit on my shoulders to pretend she's taller than most people our age. Begin. We came directly out with rather fast speeds for a couple Class B people to attack us. This'll be easy. One of them was Monoma, who was rather overconfident with himself attacking us. Yui, do you mind throwing that metal piece I gave you? She agreed with using her quirk on it to make us something similar to a metal wave board without waves. Alright, time for the next part. We changed our position with both Yui and Achako holding Kino on my shoulders while I created explosions out of my hands to act as our forward momentum. How are you holding up, Achako? She held a thumbs up with both me and her using her zero gravity quirk on each other while also Achako used it on Yui. Thanks to this, the only weight we had to worry about was Kino's, who was more keeping us on the ground than anything. Because I couldn't let go of Achako's quirk though, I needed to be extra careful what quirks I used and for how long. Iceberg shroom. Kino saw a wave of ice come at us for me to adjust our weight to ride on it and turned to see Todoroki. I'm not gonna lie man, that looked awesome. Kaminari stated this as we found ourselves cornered with nothing we could do. Kino, time for obstacle 2. I wrapped Kino in vines to keep her safe while facing Todoroki. You're not going anywhere, you Sagayama. Todoroki and his group of Yaoi Rozu, Kaminari, and Iida came at us with trying to cut the vines off with shears Momo made. I stopped them however with making a few explosions in my hands, feeling the effects of the ribbon more. Damn it, I gotta find a way around him. I glanced around with his left side not creating fire. Maybe that'll work. Achako, Yui, we gotta head to his left. Both nod for Kaminari to activate his quirk trying to attack us. This was blocked with Shiizaki's vines quirk for it to hardly do anything. Unfortunately, this left us open with Yaoi Rozu cutting the vines a bit, protecting Kino. We tried to get away, but Todoroki froze Yui's feet to the ground. Trying to keep our headbands safe, I used explosion to blast the shears away and mushroom to keep Todoroki and his group busy. Meanwhile, I started destroying the ice with Mina's acid quirk for us to get a distance away. That was a close one. What's going on out there, Shroom? All I see is a cut in the vines a little. We were in a bit of a jam with Todoroki, but we're okay now. She sighed in relief as we kept heading out of the area. Unfortunately, Todoroki wasn't the only one charging for us. I got you now. Kachin came barreling at us with his explosions, making us panic a bit. How am I gonna avoid this? Gotta think. Gotta think. Gotta think. My mind immediately went to Kendo with her quirk with Tamaki's. Could it work? Having no time to think if it would or wouldn't, I activated both Big Fist and Manifest as a form of defense. What the? I smacked Kachin back with a giant fist that had a clamshell cover it. Guess that's something to write down later. Packed move, big game. I smirked as Todoroki sent a barrage of ice at us again to have us only dodge at the last second. Now I gotta think of how to avoid them. Todoroki came at us with shears yet again thanks to Yaoi Rozu. This became an issue now since we were attacked by 2 heavy hitters. It looks like Team Kamori is in a bit of a bind. Both teams Todoroki and Bakugo are trying to come at them. We only have less than a minute left, I gotta think of something. Bakugo came at me with only one thought being able to come to my mind to win. Sorry. I used Ofa at 5% to smack Kachin into Todoroki to send both off and into the ground. While they tried to get back, we quickly ran away with Yui nearly falling. Ow. What's wrong? I think the ice made me twist my ankle wrong. You think you can keep going? Not right now. I looked back to see the 2 coming after us again. Damn it. Kino, I'm gonna take the vines off so you can keep all your weight on me. Yui, Achako, hold on to me. I pulled the vines off quick while the girls did what I said. Now what? Hold on tight. I jumped directly over both teams using Ofa and Rabbit landing directly behind them and running to the other end of the field. Damn it. Turn around. We found ourselves in a corner with both Kachin and Todoroki surrounding us. Guess we've got no choice. We began holding a fighting stance with all 3 of us starting our attack. Time's up. I stopped midway with Todoroki stopping as well. Unfortunately, Kachin was in the air, so he fell face first into the dirt. Alright folks, the winner of the second round is Team Komori, Kodai, Uraraka, and USA Gayama. Second is Team Todoroki, Yayoi Rozu, Iida, and Kaminari. Third is Team Bakugo, Kirishima, Ashido, and Shiro. And finally, Team Shinso, Toga, Ajiro, and Shota in fourth. We'll have a short break for lunch before heading back in for the final round of a one-on-one fight. Me and Achako released gravity on our team with Yui falling down from the pain in her ankle. I gotcha. I held her arm on my shoulder so she didn't have to put weight on her bad ankle while heading to Recovery Girl to get checked out. After she was dropped off, she said it was a mild sprain that was easy to heal with little issue. Yui was all better in no time with us going to grab lunch. "You Sagayama, can I have a word with you?" Todoroki stopped us with me looking at Yui. "I'll catch up." She left with it just being the two of us heading to an area out of the way. We were silent for a few minutes before I spoke. Do you mind if we hurry this up? I don't mean to be rude, but we won't get anything if we don't grab lunch now." "Yuri? You said you got it while on the streets, how?" I looked away while answering. "I was in some guy's garbage and he wasn't exactly nice. I'm pretty sure he was drunk when he slashed my eye with a broken bottle he had. I was just trying to survive, but he did what he did. I guess we both didn't have the greatest life growing up." He held his scar before I asked a serious question. "Todoroki, why don't you use your fire half of your quirk? You could have taken the vines off much easier if you did." He was silent before speaking. "Because I refuse to use my father's power." He looked at me while explaining. "You're aware of quirk marriages, right? Those were back a few generations ago, when people would marry others with hopes of a strong hybridized offspring of their powers, right?" "Yes. My father did something similar to that by buying out my mother's family for her. He always wanted to become number one. So, when he realized he couldn't surpass All Might himself, he decided to find some way to do it with his children. So that's where you come in." He nodded while explaining. "Ever since I could remember, my father put me through hellish training along with secluding me and my mother from my siblings. I can barely remember a time when my mother wasn't sad or crying. One night, however, I discovered how deeply her hatred went to a point she broke down and poured scalding hot water over my eye. The fact his own mother did this to him in a broken state scared me to no end. It may have been my mother who gave me the scar, but it would have never happened if it wasn't for my father. Because of that, I refused to use his power." He started walking away with a thought coming to my mind. "Hating yourself for what happened in the past won't solve anything, it'll only make things worse." For some time on the streets to when I was just starting to live with my mother, I thought my quirk was despicable and wanted nothing to do with it. I was willing to give up everything I could be today because of that hatred. But because of what my mother said to me, I chose not to. She said that even the most evil quirk could be used for good. It's not where the quirk comes from, it's where the heart of the person using it comes from. Neglecting your quirk is neglecting part of what makes you. I was sickened by saying this next part, but it had to be said. Like it or not, I come from the Midoriyas as you come from the Todorokis. But we aren't bound by what they are, we're bound by what we are. I choose to be Izuku Use Sagayama and use my quirk to make everything my mother did for me mean something. Just because something bad happened to you, you shouldn't forsake who you are for it. You are you, and nothing will change that." I didn't know if my words got to him, but Todoroki began walking away with this in his mind. "It's not that simple, Use Sagayama." I stood there silently while reassuring myself. "It is, Todoroki. It is, and I'll prove it to you. I'll make you accept your fire half and prove to you that just because you accept it, you aren't your father. Endeavor is endeavor, and you are you. That's all there is that you should know." I walked into the cafeteria with Yui and Kino saving me a seat along with grabbing me something to eat. Fortunately for me, they did this when they did, or I'd have to do the rest of the event hungry. That wouldn't end well for me since I'd need all the strength I had. Once we finished, we went to the field with the final matches being decided. However, Ajiro and Shota from Class B asked to withdraw due to them not being aware of anything in the last event and feeling wrong being here. Because of this, Midnight accepted this with Tetsu and Shiozaki, who were in 5th place, were picked to replace them. Now, here are your brackets. Izuku Yu Sagayama vs Hitachi Shinso, Shoto Todoroki vs Hanta Siro, Denki Kaminari vs Ibara Shiozaki, Tenyu Iida vs Kanoko Komori, Mina Ishido vs Himiko Toga, Momo Yaoirozu vs Yui Kodai, Ijiro Kirishima vs Tetsutetsu, Katsuki Bakugo vs Achako Uraraka. So if I win against this Shinso person, I face Todoroki. I glanced at my classmate determined to prove him wrong. I'll make you see the truth. I'll make you use your fire half Todoroki and prove to you that you're not a slave to your father's lineage. That is all for today's video. Thank you for watching. And please comment down below what you guys want to see next. I'll see you in the next video.